To start with, find a corner. Next, stand with your back to the corner so that the corner is touching you in 3 places. The first is your sacrum, so that the corner is between your butt cheeks. The second will be somewhere near the middle of your back. And the third will be the back of your head. So your sacrum, the middle of your spine, and the back of your head. Your feet should be relatively close together, but not necessarily touching each other, and your heels should not be touching the wall. They can touch the wall, but you'll probably feel like you're about to fall forward. An inch or so away from the wall is fine for most people, but don't put them so far away that you're leaning on the wall. You want to feel like you're standing completely upright and just happen to be touching the corner lightly with your spine in those 3 places. You're now going to do a few things to stretch and strengthen some of those muscles of your neck, shoulder girdle, and trunk. With your pelvis in a neutral position, you're going to stabilize your core and lower back by doing what is called a rib anchor. Place your fingertips on the edges of your ribs, arch your back just a little and feel how the ribs flare out, meaning forward and upwards. Now do the opposite, pulling the edges of the ribs back in and down like you're trying to anchor them back against the corner of the wall. You will probably be able to feel some of the abdominal muscles beneath your fingertips engaging. Another way to anchor the ribs that is more effective but a little more complicated is to keep your spine touching the corner of the wall and then reach straight up with both hands as high as you can. I'm demonstrating this freestanding, so it's easier for you to see, but you can do this with your back against the corner. Really reach and stretch. It's okay to let your shoulders hike up. Keep stretching until you're pulling your abdomen in a little bit as you try to get more reach. Now, once you've reached up as high as you can, keep the back of your spine touching the corner and start reaching forward with the hands, like you're trying to put a box on a shelf that's just a little bit higher and more forward than you can comfortably reach. Notice how your ribs naturally anchor with this movement. Pause there for a moment and notice what your abdomen feels like, how the muscles are tightening like a corset around your midsection. Keep that feeling in your abdomen and then slowly lower your arms to your sides, relaxing your shoulders. I learned this technique from Esther Goklay's work in her book, 8 Steps to a Pain-Free Back. The next thing we're going to do is to correct your neck and head position. This one is simple. Just keep the back of your head touching the wall and start pointing your nose down to the floor. You should feel a slight stretching or lengthening sensation in the back of your neck, at the base of your skull, or both. And your chin will be gently pulled in towards your neck. Don't use too much force or effort with this. It's enough to make a small movement at first, until you just start to feel the stretch. If your normal head posture is really far forward, or if your rib cage is really stiff, this is going to be really difficult until you get some more mobility in your upper back and rib cage. So if you're having difficulty getting your head to touch the corner, or if you can touch it but your head is having to tilt backwards and you feel a strain in your neck, then put something like a rolled up towel behind your head and continue doing the rest of the exercise normally. You will need to push your head back slightly to hold the towel in place, but that's fine as long as you keep trying to gently point your nose to the ground. Don't let your nose point up towards the ceiling. So now let's add something for the shoulders. First, open your hands and stretch your fingers and rotate your hands outward. Continue rotating your hands outward as far as they will comfortably go, and also start gently squeezing your shoulder blades together like you're trying to pinch the corner of the wall between them. Next, keeping your shoulders back and your hands stretched open, stretch your fingers down towards the floor and actively pull your shoulders down away from your ears. The end result is that your chest should be open and your shoulders should be down and back. At this point, check to make sure that you haven't let the ribs flare out again. It's very common for people to try to retract their shoulders and open the chest by arching the lower back and flaring the ribs, so re-anchor them here if you have to. And now just stand in this position for at least 2 minutes, at least once per day, although twice a day or more is even better. While you're standing, It might feel a little bit awkward to breathe, and that's normal at first because you won't be used to having to coordinate your diaphragm and your abdominal muscles in this way. But keep the ribs anchored and just try to breathe normally, letting your abdomen expand with the inhalation and contract with the exhalation. It will get easier with practice. It is pretty common to feel a slight tingling sensation down the arms. This is perfectly natural and normal, and if it happens, you can let it be like that for a little bit, and then let your arms relax so your palms turn back towards your sides, while still keeping your shoulders gently down and back. It's totally fine to alternate having the arms rotated outwards and having them more relaxed. Another common sensation is a stretching sensation at the base of your skull, which is an area where there are usually some very tight muscles that get all scrunched up if you're spending a lot of time typing or staring at a screen. As you start to hold this stretched position for longer periods of time, you will go through a phase where it gets uncomfortably achy back there for a minute or two, but that will go away as the muscles relax. Just keep practicing and be gentle with it, and don't exert too much force. Also, it is common to be sore in your mid or upper back for the first week or two, since some of the muscles that you are engaging to control the neck and the shoulders are actually down pretty far in your mid-back. If they are weak from underuse, they're going to be sore for a bit the way they would be when you start lifting weights or doing some other kind of resistance training. Have fun and keep practicing.